to take another moment to look at epistemology and the limits of human knowledge. In all this work, I've yet to say much about the medium of communication itself, language. Linguistics is the study of language and worthy of its own endless field. My understanding of language is through the compression drive. Words are symbols which represent something. Repeated events are compressed in our minds which are attached to words. Where many animals have utterances with direct mapping to objective reality, humans have developed a language system and grammar which can produce infinite meaningful sentences. However, there is an obvious limitation in what can be expressed and understood with human language, given that there are limits to our compression of experience as well as human perception of reality. And this is a major challenge to any written or spoken answer to the meaning of life. Many ancient thinkers have said that the essence of life and reality is ineffable, indescribable, that we can only gain ultimate truth through direct experience. Direct knowledge, as such, cannot be shared intersubjectively, only felt subjectively. Thus, others can only be guided to the ineffable experience, but not told explicitly. However, how do we justify or verify these experiences for accuracy? How do we show convergence towards some ultimate truth? My answer to using language to describe or define the meaning of life is we should expand the scope of expressibility and granularity of our language as far as possible, asymptotically, while acknowledging the fallibility of our limitations. Yet, this is another reason to grow artificial intelligence which can go beyond the limits of biological language. As far as we can tell, even AI will reach limits. There are problems which are undecidable. There are statements within a formal system that cannot be proven true, such as Gödel's incompleteness theorems. Some computations are so complex they cannot be predicted but only run to see what happens next. This is all a part of what makes life and the search so exciting. We continually find mysteries. We can forge ahead. But there's another important question here, which is, to which level of reality should we assign the most trust? Which is the most reliable? So we've talked about the objective and subjective and intersubjective, but there seems to be a bit of a debate on maybe which you should hold prime. Like, what should be the number one? The objective level is the essence of reality. It is independent of us. The closest we can get to this ground truth is through our sense organs. The objective level is the input layer to our minds. To give an example of our eyes, the objective level is light hitting the retina. The activation of the retina is the objective cause and effect. To interpret this sense input, the brain and body make inferences in connected layers of information processing. Without this interpretation, we are left with a base cause and effect, yet the input is the most real. As we argued, our systems are not designed to be deeply in touch with reality if we can even guess at the true nature of reality at all. We evolved for fitness. The best method we know of to go beyond our sense is science. We can seek to understand the data generation process of our input. However, one could argue that the prime contact we have is with our consciousness, the subjective level. While we can't be sure we are in touch with reality, we can directly experience our minds. The only way we know anything exists at all is through conscious experience. As evolved creatures, we cannot trust our senses and our interpretation beyond our senses are distortions of that input which reach our consciousness. We should doubt our most fundamental views and feelings. We can easily be led astray by ideas about information which is not accurate to reality. When our views conflict with the data, we should adjust our views to the data. While we should respect our evolved tendencies as the product of billions of years of trial and error, we should recognize this as entirely fallible. Our reactions may be optimal in one situation, but they can be wrong in a different context. Intersubjective reality is the amalgamation of our subjective realities, the accumulation of our truths and falsehoods. Our subjective selves have an interdependence on the intersubjective. Intersubjectivity takes on an evolution of its own. Intersubjective life enables us to evolve at faster rates than our biological evolution would allow, largely through unifying myths and stories. Our beliefs and behaviors achieve higher fitness. As we have seen, higher fitness nearly implies illusions. Fitness maximization distorts the input. Subjective minds receive new information which overturns their previous beliefs. Intersubjective beliefs culture allow us to access a broader range of data. When learning a new idea, it's almost like accessing an object from a database. The idea is a representation of accumulated empirical knowledge or constructed information. There is an advantage to a diverse culture in its ability to experience reality from multiple perspectives. They are able to solve more problems. The disadvantage is many perspectives can cause a deterioration of group cohesion. A homogeneous culture has the opposite advantages and disadvantages. While we might have a more coherent picture of reality with access to more data through society, there are numerous factors involved, such as the reliability of the individuals. We may also be caught in an evolutionarily stable strategy. Intersubjective groups almost appear like self-similar fractals of subjective individuals. So the whole kind of seems like a reflection of the individual. Certainly, all aspects of reality are useful, but to which should we hold prime? Well, I think that it's clear that, objective, subjective, intersubjective, people seem to have a focus on one over the other, and they can make their arguments for it, but probably as a society, what's useful for us, and also as individuals, is that we should have a certain weighting to all of them, and maybe some of us should care more about one level over another. I guess I would say I'm more of a person that cares about objective reality, and I mean, if you have the goal of objectivity and truth, then it seems like you should have the most trust in the order of objective, then subjective, and intersubjective. But it could be personal taste. So, the conclusion. The objective meaning of life is to resist entropy, the inevitable dispersal of energy. We are the types of entities which emerge under complex conditions and evolve. We are exactly the type of creatures we would expect to see given enough time and the pressure of selection. Creatures which replicate and maintain their form in opposition to entropy are what survives and continues. Not only does life resist entropy, the tendency of energy to break down from order to disorder, but life grows information. Life exists in out-of-equilibrium systems where solid matter, embodied information, can be recombined to form new information.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this clip, please consider checking out the full video and the series linked in the description.